Hello, poets, wordsmiths, bards, and creators. This is Sister Millard, and we are in week 10. This week we are talking about poetry, and of course, specifically about children's poetry, which is a lot different than potentially adult poetry, although they have a lot of things in common. So I have chosen today to talk to you about giant children. You thought I was going to do Where the Sidewalk Ends, didn't you? I can see that. That's one of the most popular children poetry books out there. This one is called Giant Children, and it's by Brod Baggart, and the pictures are by Ted Arnold. So Brod is a children's poet, and he has, I think, 10 books out, and they are all poetry books, which I just find fascinating. Ted Arnold is the illustrator of this book, and he has the most distinct style I have ever seen. If you have, if any of you have seen in your forays to the library the Fly Guy books, this is the same illustrator, but he also writes these. And he has just such a distinct style with these ginormous eyes, and he has this interesting texture that he does. It looks like he must work in colored pencils, I'm guessing. It's kind of difficult to tell, but he does this thing where he draws, and then he does this like squiggly line through everything. So these Fly Guy books are great. They're early chapter books, because they do have chapters, but I mean, very minimal text on those. So, Giant Children is such a fun poetry book. All of the poems rhyme, obviously, but the thing I love about this poetry book is how silly it is, because sometimes poetry takes itself really seriously, and this does not at all. So I'm going to read a few of these poems, and I would say 2 or 3 of them have like a potty humor in them, but mostly they're just silly and fun. So this one's called Fly Food. And the reason I'm reading this to you is normally I don't read a ton in my book presentations, but these are short, and I really feel like poetry is supposed to be read out loud. That's my personal opinion. This one's called Fly Food. I went up in a swing, up ever so high. Then I opened my mouth and swallowed a fly. I thought of its legs and those sticky fly feet that walk on the yucky things flies like to eat. It's the second worst thing that could possibly be. It could only be worse if the fly swallowed me. So in the picture, it has the little boy swinging up here, and then what it would look like if the fly came and swallowed him. So it is just so fun. And so Giant Children, the name of the book, comes from the first poem, and it talks about how these kids, these giant children, go and learn all of these things at school. They learn how to read and write, but then you find out that the poem is from this little classroom hamster's point of view. So he's talking about these giant children when they're just normal, normal kids. One of the ones with I wouldn't call it potty humor. I said that, but this one's about a booger. But what's funny is it has this little warning. Warning to all children: this poem is totally disgusting and should not, under any circumstances, be recited around a grown-up. So it's just fun and silly, and any kid thinks it's hilarious. Okay, I was going to read just this last poem because a lot of them are silly, but this one I think gets to the heart of the matter. It's called Giant Hearts. And it has to do with that little hamster again. It says, "Psst, listen, little hamster. We have something to say to you. You may think we kids are giants, but you can be one too. Giants don't have to be real big. Giants don't have to be tall. What makes someone giant is not their size at all. And even when we giants get scared, we always do our best. We learn from our mistakes and forget about the rest. Life is like a play. We all play giant parts. And the biggest giants are the little players who play with giant hearts." So, if you're interested in poetry at all, or just a fun rhyming story, this is an awesome little book of poetry, and it's small enough that children can read most of the books in here in a limited amount of time, and it's just super fun. So, hope you enjoy our content on poetry, and I will talk to you all soon.